And you're live.
Hey, welcome everybody there. Robert was hiding behind a green cloth to make it look like, well, bring the cloth out, show them. So, welcome to SoapBox Live. We are here in Winchester at the WinCam studio at 80 Skillings Road. And,
and I'm Robert Gotham. Here's your host, Joe Araka.
Anyway, as you can see, this is a call-in show. Here's our number, over here. And we are going live, so anything can happen. Nothing usually does, so you'll see what happens. Joe Viglione, our current artist in residence, he's going to come out and he has some people calling in, talking about books and music, I'm assuming, and that's just about it. So if you have anything that you would like to talk about, you can call in, or if you have anything that you would want to inform the Winchester community about, any events or anything, you can just come on down to the studio right now, live, and we can, put you on the air. You can say what you'd like.
And, please, do you want me to do that?
Well, you can if you want to. You don't have to do it, but it's this new thing we're doing. So,
it's a new style.
We have a green screen, and it's starting. We're getting a good cut now on it. And that in the background is a poster from Notorious.
Not Notorious B.I.G.
Not the Notorious B.I.G., unfortunately.
For Hitchcock movie.
Yep. And I watched it for the first time, and it's quite good. You can get it from the library, maybe.
And do you want another good movie? Is it Back to the Future 3?
No, it's not a good movie.
I know, I'm kidding.
Back to the Future 1's good.
That is a good movie.
But you know what the problem I have with that is it's a little bit racist, right? Because it makes it seem like he invented rock and roll music, because that whole Chuck Berry scene, you know that line?
Yeah.
I don't know. Anyway, we're live at WinCam. We're going to have a good time tonight. Call in 781-721-0137. That's right.
It's right up here.
So, how's it going with your braces? Have you had them tightened yet?
Again. No. I haven't. No, I'm gonna get the bottom one soon, but...
Speak up. You're speaking your mic.
I'm gonna get the bottom one soon. So anyways, how's it been going with...
We have a lot of light, a lot of shadows on our eyes.
I know, but how's your beard growing been going?
My beard growing going?
You're gonna grow a Conan Writers Resistance?
Oh, yeah, so...
Writer Strike beard?
Yeah, Conan grew a long beard during the writer's strike.
And he has a long beard now.
This is what I'm going to look like in, how many years do you think I have till I'm bald like this?
Probably wait, have you already been losing,
Yeah, I've been losing it, see,
really?
Here. Yeah, it's kind of stuff. Well, my grandfather on my mother's side's been bald since, he was 22, but he was in the war, so... probably made all his hair fall out,
How does a war make your hair fall out?
Because it's traumatizing. Wow. Okay. Anyway, what were you saying? There was a real topic there that you were saying.
Wait, your grandfather was in the war?
My grandfather was in World War II, yes. He is still alive. He was a navigator on a B-something Lightning. Mm-hmm.
Did he come back?
Yeah, he came back. No, I'm 106 years old. So...
Look how long my arms look.
Yeah. It does look good.
So, Anyways...
There's not much else going on. What's going on in Winchester? It's been cold and windy.
Well, what happened in Winchester recently was an oil tanker was coming in to try to deliver some oil to Winchester. And it fell over and blew up
Really?
Right in front of the Starbucks, right?
Is this true?
Yeah, yeah, and then a motorcycle went through the Starbucks window, killing 5 people, innocent.
Jesus.
And then what happened?
That didn't happen.
The whole Starbucks fell down and just collapsed, dude. I mean, it just fell down, and it was. I
drove by it today, and it's they already fixed it, huh?
Very quick recovery. What can I say? Very quick recovery. Those Starbucks are good.
What's the deal with the train station? That's still under construction, isn't it? It's a pain.
Well, they're having trouble because a few days ago, a fox ran on the tracks, and
all right, so you know,
how's life been going recently?
It's great.
Have you
great. What'd you do? We already talked about all that stuff. What's the date? It's the 19th?
The date is...
Yep. Oh, what has happened? There was Valentine's Day.
There was Valentine's Day.
Did nothing for that.
I didn't do anything for that either.
And, there was President's Day.
I didn't do anything for that either.
No.
There was the beginning of Chinese New Year. Didn't do anything for that.
Chinese New Year.
Nope, nothing.
Man.
I don't do enough.
Yeah, we don't get out much, do we?
No.
But you have a better
my life
excuse.
is like my computer, pretty much.
Yeah, but I feel the same way. That my life is my computer. That's not good.
Yeah.
That's not good, man. But you have a better excuse. You can't even drive or do anything. You live with your parents.
I bike more than I ever drive in a car.
Oh, because you don't have a driver's license? No, I mean, you can't go and your radius. What's your radius? What's like the farthest distance you can bike? Not like and not get in trouble.
End of Woburn.
To Woburn. So you're like your world is like Winchester and Woburn on your bike.
Yeah, and I bike about 3 to 4 miles every day.
So, man, it's weird because I could do whatever I want. I have a car and an apartment, and I still, I don't go much large. My world is not much bigger than that either. Mm-hmm. But computers are great. What are you doing, man? You're so
I just want to talk
weird. So people call in and ask a question, or you can just ask us to do things. We might do it just for fun.
As long as it doesn't result in any horrible injuries. That'll be welcome, though. What am I saying? Like, if I was to throw a dart into your temple, like, do you think that would result in injury?
You see, you notice you're right. This light isn't on because look at how dark it is on my eye. Why do you think that is? Maybe it burned out. Darn.
Maybe.
Anyway, I think that Joe is going to come out soon.
Have you been, what have you done recently?
Let's not talk about ourselves. Let's talk about,
So, what... So,
my
what happened recently was,
Hey, Joe, when will you plan on going on? Soon?
My guest is going to call any minute.
Okay, good. We will let you on then. Oh, here we go. Hello, you are live on SoapBox.
Hello, it's Harriet Schock.
Hello, how are you doing?
I'm fine.
Hold on one moment. Is this your buddy? Okay, take a break for a second.
Future Shock.
Future Shock.
Is that Harriet Schock?
Yes, it is.
Hey, Harriet. Hello.
Hi, Joe.
Hi. Did you see the Winchester Star write-up?
I did. Thank you very much.
Good old Rory.
Yeah.
Good old Rory at the paper.
Uh-huh.
It's so exciting that you have a new record out. When was the last CD that you had out? Was it the live album?
Yeah. Yeah, that was 2001. Actually, this is the first one I've ever done myself.
Oh, without like Nick Vinay doing Rosebud?
Well, Nick Vinay put Rosebud on his label, and Phil Applebaum put the live album on his label.
Right.
So this is the first one I've done on my label of my artist thing. I mean, I did one for my students on my label, but I've never done one of my own.
Now, I know that there's the Jeannie Kendall song on the album, and Jeannie Kendall had a hit on radio with that, You Just Don't Get Me.
Well, she did have a kind of top 10 Hot AC nominated for the year or whatever with that song. But I had written it before. I just hadn't gotten around to recording it. And I wrote it with Holly Mathis, a very good writer who was a student of mine.
Oh, so Jeannie put it out, and then you recorded it specifically for this album, then? This isn't the demo?
No, this is not even what Jeannie heard. We made a demo of it. She heard it, she cut it, and then I cut it. I guess I covered my cover.
That's cool. Now, can we talk about the recording process? Because you recorded this album in a much different way than you did Rosebud and the other classics, Hollywood Town.
Yeah, it's probably different from the way most people record anything. What I did was, a man here named Travis Allen had something he used to call Nashville Tracks, and now he calls it myrecordlabel.com. But basically, they're really great musicians in Nashville whom he uses for all of these things, and you give them your home demo and a chord chart, which they ignore, of course, because they're in Nashville and they like to do it their way. But
right.
The good part is they will play it for you according to what they think it should sound like. If you give them kind of an idea of, like, well, I had so and so in mind or whatever, and then they'll play it down. And through a computer hookup, I'm listening to them in real time, and I'm in LA and they're in Nashville. So sometimes I'll say, the voicing of that chord needs to be different. This needs to be the major. But for the most part, they get it pretty well. I have some strange chords sometimes that they think that I must be wrong, but of course I tell them that that's exactly what I want. And at the end of the day, they usually kind of go along with me on that. So
good.
Yeah, and that's how we do it. And I talk to them in real time, and they're great.
Now, when you say you talk to them, are you in a studio or are you on the phone?
I'm in the studio with Travis Allen in Los Angeles.
Ah, got it.
And they're in Nashville, but through the computer hookup, we can actually speak to each other.
And you cut your vocals in Los Angeles, and then they fly them down by computer, or is it done in real time by computer? It's all happening at once.
They fly the tracks to Los Angeles, and Travis mixes them here.
Got it.
After I do the vocals and the background vocals and the harmonica.
Now, this is so different from when you did Rosebud.
Oh, yeah, and it's different from American Romance and obviously from the live album. So.
Now, Rosebud was such a grand production. Did you find it exciting to do something totally different from how you usually make a record?
Yeah, well, Nick Vinay really believed that I should sing everything while I was playing the piano, because he thought that my vocal performances were part of the piano part. I mean, it was odd, but he was right in some ways. But sometimes I would occasionally overdub a vocal, and it would be okay with him. But for the most part, I had to sing it live in the studio with everybody, and that's not always the best way to get a best performance. But I mean, I loved the way he approached things, and so I went along with it. But this was entirely different because I wasn't even in the same state. So I did overdub everything. But I love doing it this way because, these master musicians, I'd never really, in many years, I hadn't had an album with drums. If you think back, none of my albums except one cut on Rosebud had drums at all.
Wow, so back to having the drums.
Yeah, but very tasteful drums, because the song, nothing gets in the way of the song. I think they did a really good job with that.
Now, I don't know how much time you have, but can we go track by track on the album?
Sure, I'd be happy to.
You open up with a very interesting almost kind of like an outtake. Is that correct?
It's actually a song I wrote for live performance for a sound check.
For a sound check.
Yeah. So it's the song that I sing in live performance to the sound man. I actually do it in my show now, though, and he always feels really good that he gets that much attention. And if you have good sound, you have a good show.
No, because the album's great, but it really kind of threw me for a loop. It's like, wow, it's like this is a jolt, because you're setting the listener up with a sound check song. How did the band? They understood what you do with that song, that you do that live.
I'm not sure. Sometimes when you get musicians playing along a chord chart, you wonder if they ever really listened to the lyric in the demo you gave them. But people who hear it understand it, But even if it isn't for a live show, it's just a tribute to any sound person who does sound.
Right.
They're usually the forgotten element and possibly the most important one, other than the songs and the vocals.
Especially with all this, are you familiar with Wolfgang's Vault?
No.
Wolfgang's Vault is Bill Graham's company. A person bought Bill Graham's tapes. So when you go to wolfgangsvault.com, there are all these tapes to download, and you can listen to them free. Marty Ballin from The Airplane and Lou Reed. And my friend Dinky Dawson engineered Lou Reed, and he was just taking these sound check tapes so that he could hear how his sound guys did that night. And now they're up on Wolfgang's Vault. You can actually download the 1973 Lou Reed tour.
Oh, my heavens. You have to be careful every minute. Somebody's going to get that,
Well, it's all legitimate. It's all legitimate. The sound man made a deal with Wolfgang's Vault, and Lou Reed's well aware of it. And the beauty of it is that these engineers, it really does show the importance of the engineer, not just for the moment when Harriet Schock is playing, but that moment in time is captured.
Right, I see what you mean. Yeah, at one point Travis was thinking of producing it in a way where certain instruments would come out and others would go in, and I said, no, let's just do the song, because I wrote a song that all three of us could sing together all the way through, because it's hard to sing a chorus over and over in a sound check, and we have to get the vocals balanced because my songs are written around harmonies. So I just thought, I'm going to write a song where we're all three singing all the way through, and that's what I did on that song.
Wow, that's so cool. It's an inner look at the artist, right on the first track. Second track, when was this written in time?
Well, I'm going to have to get a copy of the CD. I'm not familiar enough to know what the second track is. Let me look at it. That was written a few years ago when... well, it has to be more than 5 because my friend I wrote it for had been married to this man now for 5 years. But right before he proposed to her, he was going off and trying to figure out if he should really be with her because they were different religions, and he didn't know, and he was losing sleep over it. And I decided to write him a song that would wake this guy up because he was going to lose this girl, and she was perfect for him, And so I wrote this song in an attempt to, snap him out of it. And now they're married, so I feel like I did my job.
You accomplished your goal. I'm like blown away. Even 2005, you wrote it, I guess. Then 5 years ago.
Yeah.
That different religions would matter in the new millennium.
Well, people emphasize different things, and I mean it is kind of important to them. But they're such good communicators; they just find a common ground.
And I don't want to go too far off the map, but I think if people have two different religions, I would think there's plenty of room for conversation.
Yeah, I'm sure they talk about it quite a bit.
Because religious, as long as you don't get into a deep argument over it, I think if you want to look at it from a historical point of view, it could be a lot of fun being married to someone
absolutely
of a different religion. Mm-hmm. So what's that track called?
It's called Sitch.
And with all the material, it's the same musicians, correct? You didn't take a few off of one. Did you leave that all to the producer?
Well, I have to say, we did not record this all at one time. There was one a month. And so I don't know whether every single time, they have a core of musicians. But what would happen is sometimes a guitar player couldn't be there, and so someone else would fill in, or the piano player. But for the most part, they were the same musicians. But as I said, what he would do is he would have these tracks cut. Everyone would come over on a Tuesday once a month or something, and you would have your little time slot, and you would record and talk to them and then leave. So I don't know for sure they were all the same people.
Tommy James, who had a variety of hit records, which all sounded different. He has an amazing career. He cut a Nashville album, My Head, My Bed, My Red Guitar. What a phenomenal record, Harriet, and it has been ignored, pretty much ignored, because Tommy's fans love his hits, as you know. Mm-hmm. And here's this great pop singer with a Nashville album, much like what you just did. And you're right, the richness in the recording, it's so different from what people are used to.
These people don't just cut country songs, though. Every single person who comes in has a different style. They can play anything. And I didn't want to make a country record, and I don't believe I did.
Oh, right. That's what I'm saying. But these Nashville players, I'm just saying, Tommy didn't cut a country record, really. But he used the Nashville musicians, some from Presley's sessions. And there's a richness with these guys that a total different flavor. And I'm not saying that one's better than the New York session men.
I know what you mean.
But that flavor, and you got that flavor for your album. And I think it's a good career move for you, too.
Well, good. I'm awful glad, yeah.
Yeah, because, you've certainly put out a lot of great artwork, and I love your material. The live album was so much fun. Mm-hmm. Did you have fun making a live album?
I did. I mean, Phil Applebaum came to me and said he wanted to make a live album with me, and I said, well, the only way that's going to happen is if you bring all the equipment to L.A., and he did. So it was great. Yeah, we had a lot of fun. He recorded about... He recorded 4 shows, I believe, and then he pieced the best ones together, I recorded a lot more songs than I put on the album live, But it was a lot of fun. I just didn't really, between you and me, I wasn't thrilled with the piano sound, and I got rid of that keyboard and I got another one. But no one seems to mind it but me.
Well, yeah, I didn't mind it, and I would have been the first to say something, so... But you're the artist, and...
No, but I love the album, and it has certain things on it that I don't have anywhere else, like Starbucks is no place else, and the song I wrote for my sister called Hers is no place else. So, but for the most part, it was sort of the songs I do live, which are already on other albums, but people seem to like having them all on one, so that's fine.
Now, Harriet, I was very honored when you sent me some of these tracks in advance. How long have you been recording this?
I don't remember when I started sending them to you, but I've been writing it for 9 years, and I think it's taken me 2 to record it.
That's pretty amazing. And it's different because you usually go into a studio and cut 3 or 4 songs and go home, and for 2 weeks you sit with them, and then you go do another 4, right? But here you're going piece by piece and kind of building.
Yeah, but once we got to the point of actually mixing, then we did what you're talking about. Travis would send them to me, I would listen, I would give him feedback, and he's more of a perfectionist than I am. He would drive me crazy remixing and doing things. He was just really driving me nuts. At the end of the day, he's right, and he got stuff out of me that I wasn't sure I was willing to give him, but, I forgave him. I love it.
How long have you known Travis?
Oh gosh! Well, since he got to town.
Oh, okay.
He laughingly says I put him in business because I sent him so many people. It was such a great situation he had that I sent him all my students and all my friends, and so it was a very nice situation for both of us, really. But I just love what he does, and he's really good. I mean, he produced, I don't know, Diamond Rio or somebody. I mean, he's produced really big people in Nashville, but what he does here is a whole different thing. He's not in the studio with them. Now, some of my people, like Tracy Newman, she goes to Nashville with him, and they do it in the room with the musicians. But I like it this way because I don't have time to go to Nashville all the time. I just want to stay here and get the benefit of it.
And usually with the Harriet Schock album, there are other people look at your music for soundtracks and for covers. Is this a Harriet Schock record, or is it something that other people could pick up on?
Well, it's both. My records have always been stuff that other people pick up on. I mean, people say, you've already made 6 records. Why are you making the 7th one? Well, first of all, I have some people out there who want me singing my songs. They're, my fans, and I'm happy, very happy for that. But then I also use them as an A&R tool. I mean, they are put in movies, thank heavens, and they are put on TV, and other people do record them. So the best way to get them there is to just put them on CD Baby, hand them to people, give them out at my shows, sell them, whatever.
It is an amazing world, isn't it, compared to the time when, Helen Reddy was singing your song and it was all over the radio. Now, so many people are up on the web, so all you major songwriters are competing in a way with all these kids that are coming up and just putting tons of music on MySpace. It's a whole new world.
Yeah, but what's really wonderful and the way you can tell you have something is when you get money from CD Baby and you don't know these people from Adam's off Ox, as my mother used to say, and they're from Japan somewhere and they just found you and they love it. And that's the beauty of it. They may find people on MySpace who really can't carry a tune and don't know how to write a song, but they're not going to buy it.
Right, and a lot of that music is free. There's so much free stuff, and radio is so different from what we knew back in the day. But that is a good point about CD Baby.
What did you say about CD Baby?
That's a good point, because CD Baby's now been around a while. They've really become a model, if you will, of where you can have your album. It's the new record store in a way.
It really is, but also they get it to all the digital download people. And
right.
So does TuneCore, except TuneCore doesn't get it to as many digital downloading people as CD Baby. And that's where you just found money. I don't know who these people are. And then Rhapsody has a whole Harriet Schock program, and I don't have to do anything. I just send it to CD Baby. They get it to everybody, and it takes off like wildfire. I mean, I like that.
That's pretty cool.
It beats having, the A&R people at the record company and the promo people having some big meeting, and then they're going to change their mind about the single, and then you don't get any of the money anyway except for the writing money. And I'm thinking, what is this? I like making money from my records. This is a whole new thing for me.
Harriet, are you aware of the Performance Rights Act that's going through Congress right now?
Yeah, what's going to happen?
Well, my friend Steve Hawley played on Paul McCartney's album, Wings, Back to the Egg, and he played on Elton John's A Single Man. And he gets royalties from, it used to be PAMRA, I think it's PRS now, over in Europe.
Uh-huh.
So a lot of the democratic nations now have royalties for the singer, the drummer, the vibraphone player, the bass player. They're getting royalties just the way they should for entertaining people in a commercial venue.
Mm-hmm.
Now, it's going through Congress, so I met with my congressmen, and they know fully that, I work with people like you and Bobby Hebb and Marty Ballin, and I'm saying this is very important. Well, radio, Harriet, is coming out and calling it a tax for the big record labels. It has nothing to do with the record labels. It's for you personally, as a songwriter and singer.
Well, actually, if all of those other people get paid, that really has nothing to do with me, because it would only be me as a player, isn't it? Because I already get paid as a songwriter.
Right, you as a singer. You as a singer and you as a piano player. So you would get airplay royalties for playing the piano and singing, which, they're doing it in Europe. In America, is just has all these lobbyists for the radio stations that are just really, really upset at it.
Whose pie would it come out of?
It would come out of the radio pie, which is,
you mean the blanket license that ASCAP pays? Because that's for writers and publishers.
No, ASCAP and BMI and CSAC get one payment.
No, I meant the blanket license that is paid to them by the radio stations, or is it going to be another payment from the radio stations?
Another payment from the radio stations.
I see. Well, no wonder they're fighting it. But
yeah.
Now, Well, okay, enough about politics.
Yeah. Well, no, I just thought that, I'm asking all the artists, their opinion on it.
Yeah, of course. No, I understand. I mean, it's only fair. It probably is. It's just that the record keeping of it is going to be very interesting.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely. So you have 12 tracks on this album, correct?
10.
10. Okay, I'm sorry. And
That's okay.
I should never do that, but it was in my brain 12. No, it's a lot of fun, and it's in my car, I'm sorry to say, but it's just been a crazy night. And I'm thrilled to have you on the phone. Can we ask what you're doing tonight? Are you performing?
Yeah, I'm in the play, just 45 minutes from Broadway. We've done 87 performances, and it's been extended through April.
I didn't know you did 87 performances already.
Yeah, because if you count the preview performances that started October 1st, we've done, a lot.
So it started October 1st. Is this like nightly?
No, it's, bite your tongue. It's, it's Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. It used to be Thursday, Friday, Saturday, and Sunday, but that was just, Thursday was really not necessary, so we cut them out.
Wow. And can I ask, what do you do in this play?
Well, I play, it's all about a whole family of actors. And then into this family comes, the younger daughter moved back home for a while because she broke up with her boyfriend. She's all set. The older daughter comes back with her fiancé. She's what they call a civilian. A civilian meaning that she's not in the business. And her fiancé is a civilian too. Now, I'm a boarder who lives at the house, and I mean, the whole thing's a comedy as far as I'm concerned, but I'm the comic relief, so I don't know. It's really fun, though. It's a comedy, but it's also got very serious overtones for artists, especially actors. The war between actors and civilians and how they're not totally understood by people who are not also artists. It's very, very interesting. It's a Henry Jaglom world premiere play, and it's just fabulous. And audiences are just flocking to it. I mean, I never dreamed theater in Los Angeles could be so successful.
Now, are there any clips up on YouTube?
There may be, because Tana Frederick, who is the star of it, did an interview on ABC, I think, or CBS, and they put a little clip of it in there. But he's going to make a movie of it.
Oh, truly, that's really nice.
Yeah.
I hope
I'm in the movie that he made before now. I mean, Irene in Time. I'm in that with my whole band on camera, doing 4 of my songs.
And that's great. Irene in Time. So is that now on DVD?
Yeah, I think it's if it's not, it's coming out very shortly, because he said he just did the, what do you call it when you talk over the movie and explains?
Oh, the director's, the commentary.
Yeah, the commentary.
Oh, nice. So that's Irene in Time, and this is the follow-up, which is?
Well, the follow-up is actually called Queen of the Lot, but that's a movie that I'm not actually in. But this is a play that he wrote that's going to be made into a movie after we close the play, just 45 minutes from Broadway.
Just 45 minutes from Broadway with Harriet Schock tonight in Los Angeles, correct?
That's right.
They have a cute little screen up here, and they have Boston and maps and stuff on the TV. People can see us on the TV, Harriet, and they can hear you on wincam.org.
Oh, okay.
And we're getting a very clear audio tonight, which I'm very happy about here on the SoapBox.
Excellent, yeah.
Yeah, the new album is out. Again, the title is?
It's called Breakdown on Memory Lane.
And what's the significance of the title?
Well, now, when Henry Jaglom was making Irene in Time, which is a father-daughter story about a girl who looks for her father in every man she dates because she lost her father, who was beloved to her, at an early age, I thought I was going to need another song about missing your first love or your father, and so I wrote this song, which I had the idea for many years. But as we saw the film, I realized we needed another kind of song, so I wrote Searching for You, which is on this album, and we shot it 2 days later. He had never even heard it. Henry had never heard the song, but we shot it, and he loved it, and it's in the film. I then had Breakdown on Memory Lane, free and clear. It wasn't like connected to a film or anything, so I just put it on my CD, and I thought it would be a really good title for the CD, so that's what I called it.
Breakdown on Memory Lane, produced by Travis Allen, and the My Record label is your record label, correct?
No. MyRecordLabel.com is Travis Allen's record label.
Oh, I'm sorry. Your label is
Future Shock.
Future Shock, and this is your record on Future Shock.
Yeah, the first one.
Although you had a nice compilation up, but that was your students, right, on Future Shock?
That was all of my students. Well, not all of them, but some of them. And I put it out on my own and the whole deal. And, boy, I didn't know there was so much to it, because I'd always had a label, whether it was independent or major, putting out my stuff. But, boy, you have to get it up on Grace Notes so that when people put it in their computers, they can see the titles and all this stuff.
Oh, it's a job in itself.
It really is.
Well, I don't want you to be late for the play. It's been a pleasure having you on. You've got to be back on the show. I've got to either come out there or you've got to come out here, and we've got to have a face-to-face television.
That would be great, Joe. I would so love to see you again. But, yeah, thank you for interviewing me about the album, and, anytime you want me to call in, just let me know. Email me or something. Oh,
please, yes. I'm going to send you more email about this album because I'm going to be reviewing it. It's really fun, and it's so great to have a new Harriet Schock album.
Oh, thank you so much, Joe, and thanks for having me on the show.
Thank you, Harriet.
Will the show be archived?
Oh, yes, it'll be archived, and we'll probably rebroadcast it on visual radio or something. I'll get you a DVD.
Oh, that sounds great. Thanks for everything, Joe. Take care. All the best.
Have a great play tonight.
Okay.
All right, bye.
Bye.
And that was my friend Harriet Schock, who wrote Ain't No Way to Treat a Lady for Helen Reddy, and the love theme to Berry Gordy's Last Dragon, which was first time on the Ferris wheel. Smokey Robinson covered it, and she did the New Adventures of Pippi Longstocking, Secret Garden animated series. Amazing woman. And we're back at the Soapbox. That was our scheduled guest. And if anyone wants to come back and talk on the Soapbox, we could talk about David Bowie's... boy, I'm reading this David Bowie book by Mark Spitz. And I'm not too sure about it, people. He... the phone number here, too, is if you want to call, 781-721-0137. 781-721-0137. I don't know, Mark Spitz has this 430-page biography on David Bowie, and it just kind of feels... there's some good stuff in there, and there's... these biographies, I just feel you have to buy 5 different biographies.
I heard Bowie.
Yeah, before you get the real biography, you got to buy all the biographies and put them all together.
What's the problem with it? You think there's holes?
Yes, there are holes. I can be specific. Peter Noon was Herman's Hermits, and he still is Herman's Hermits. And Peter cut a David Bowie song called "Oh You Pretty Things," and Bowie appeared on piano on the BBC. Now, to me, that's a big thing. You've got this well-known icon, Peter Noon, and Bowie was working with Lulu and Dana Gillespie and a lot of different people, Iggy Pop. And there's about maybe 3 lines in this book on "Oh You Pretty Things," and it's like, I want to know more. I want, a couple of pages on it. Bowie on the BBC, that's news. But again, he kind of goes into different areas, Mark Spitz. Some of it's good. He covers Young Americans pretty well. He covers Bowie in transition, how he works with different musicians. But there are holes in it.
And how early does it start? It does look pretty comprehensive, jeez.
Well,
in terms of length. Why? How many Bowie books have you read now?
I read Angie Bowie's, and there's Angela Bowie's book. She's the first wife, and she might even have a second book out. I'm not sure, but her book I found very distressing because she really is angry at David, and she goes into his substance abuse like every other paragraph. And enough, woman, okay, you're mad at him. It's just you're hammering the point home, and this guy kind of does the same thing.
Yeah.
But there's good elements in the Spitz book. Buzzy Linhart and I were talking about that last night, Joseph. The Jimi Hendrix books, 2 came out in 1 year. Sharon Lawrence and Charles Cross. Room Full of Mirrors was Charles Cross, and Sharon Lawrence was a reporter that Jimmy really took to. And she has one spin, and Cross has another, and you got to read both books. And you start at the beginning. Jimmy was born, Yeah,
it's like they definitely add that stuff to spice it up. It's like people go back into biographies to like confirm who they slept with and like how crazy were the parties. They think they're like going to get all the secrets,
Well,
now that it's like they're slightly out of the public eye in a way.
The interesting thing about Bowie, did you hear the Tiger Woods thing today?
Yes, I did.
Your opinion, because I'll bring it back to Bowie.
Well, I don't think he needs to apologize. Well, it just seemed weird, and I don't know why he's apologizing to the public for. I mean, I see he's trying to like save face and come out, and he's going to do something nice too, so that we all get back on his side and want him to win golf and whatever. But I personally don't think it's not even necessary. It's not us that he needs to be apologizing to,
I think he's apologizing to his business partners.
Yeah. All the advertising,
everybody, the sponsors and the people that he works with,
Yeah, that's true. But wasn't he specifically saying, like, to the fans, he's been selfish? I don't know. So, how does that tie back into...
It ties back into Bowie, where Bowie doesn't have to apologize like Tiger, because being a substance abuser and someone who partied all night and was wired, being crazy was part of the persona. And when you build it into your persona, there's no apology.
Right.
Even for being, being accused of being rude and selfish and nasty, which, of course, the claws extend and people say, well, they're selfish. Well, they're artists. They're focused on their art. And it is a selfish business.
Certainly.
Not always, but I thought one of the worst moments was James Cameron, one of my favorite filmmakers, yelling, "I'm king of the world." Grow up. Yes, you are.
That was funny.
It was a cringe moment for me. It's like, you found it funny,
He's gonna do it. He's gonna do it again this year too. We'll see. We'll see when it gets into March what happens, but he might have another Best Picture Oscar, and we'll see what ridiculous thing he screams from the podium that time. But
I'm driving my roommate this morning, and we've got the radio on, and we've got it on BZ.
Yeah.
And I go to 1510, which is the progressive talk.
Yeah.
And it's, this speech is on both stations. And you go to RKO, and there was, Dr. Laura. No, Laura Schlesinger, the other, whoever.
She's not a doctor. Whatever.
The Laura woman, whatever. So he wasn't on. But I thought it was John Edwards talking. I didn't know Tiger was giving a press conference.
Yeah.
It sounded like John Edwards, and it sounded as unbelievable as John Edwards, and it was Tiger being insincere.
Yeah.
He has that same twang as John Edwards, and the same insincerity. So
silly.
Yeah, and my roommate says that's Tiger Woods. It's like, oops. Wow. And he said, turn it off. I said, yes. But you just, you like Bowie.
I'm a big Bowie fan.
I met Bowie twice. I met Bowie 3 times.
Really? What was that like in terms of...
Okay, I met Bowie 2.5 times. When I was in college, the Ziggy Stardust tour, first, there was a cute little 4-song EP you get free at the record stores. Ziggy Stardust. I have 1 copy. I should have grabbed 20, but who knew? I was 18 at the time, right? Mm-hmm. Free record. They really promoted this guy. And there were billboards everywhere. Ziggy Stardust is David Bowie. David Bowie is Ziggy Stardust. And there were ads on the radio. Mm-hmm. And the ticket price back in the day was usually $5 for a concert. It was like $3.50. So RCA Records was subsidizing it, and they audio taped the Boston Music Hall show. So after the show, I saw his limousine, and I went up to the window, and he waved to me. So that was my half a meeting with David Bowie.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that counts.
In 1976, he did the Station to Station tour.
Mm.
These are good stories. You're going to like this. We booked a hotel.
Yeah.
You know who Iggy Pop is?
Yeah. Well, yeah. Yes.
Well, I'm a huge Iggy fan. I don't know if you know him or not. Because I'm a fan back. I'm one of his original fans. So I was with this Aerosmith groupie. I'm not going to say her name, but she's in the Aerosmith song Back in the Saddle Again. Okay? Huge Bowie fan. She goes, "There's Iggy, go get him." And she pushes me into the elevator with Iggy. So I got my camera, and I'm with Iggy in the elevator, and I go, "Wow, you look like a friend of mine." He goes, "Yeah." I go, "Yeah." He goes, I go, "His name is James." He goes, "That's me." I go, "James Osterberg." He goes, "That's me." I go, "Can I take your picture?" He goes, "Sure." Well, he immediately liked hanging out with us, so he met the two girls I was with. And
but that didn't hurt.
Well, he was just with me in the elevator, so he didn't know my friends. I said, "Can my friends meet you?" He goes, "Oh, sure." And he came to our hotel room, and we were hanging out with him, and we hung out with him for like 3 days, and he introduced us to David. So we're having drinks with David. But before Iggy introduced us officially, we were sitting with David at the Marriott in Springfield, Massachusetts. These are great memories, because the show was really fun, too.
Yeah.
Okay, so I went over to the bar, and there was Bowie, because it was kind of private. The bar was packed, but people weren't all over him. And we were in the club now, right? So I said, "David, I want to thank you for the years of music." He goes, "Oh, no, thank you." And he shook my hand. It was great. And we get to have drinks with him. But now the notorious third time.
Uh-oh.
He did this Glass Spider tour. And so we went to it. And it wasn't selling well because he got his money up front, but the promoters couldn't sell it out. It was all his greatest hits.
Okay.
But he did the big stadiums, and he should have done...
Smaller.
Yeah, even the Boston Garden wouldn't have been as big as, Foxwoods, and Foxborough, and he played Foxborough. So we got to the show, and then we went to the Four Seasons Hotel in Boston, and I was with the young lady I was with in 76. And remember, Aerosmith had immortalized her in this song, "Back in the Saddle Again." Okay, so... And so we hang out at the Four Seasons, and there's David Bowie. So he invites us up to his hotel room. He gives me a beer, and he's playing the new Tin Machine album. It might have been the third Tin Machine album. And the next thing I know, they're frolicking together, and they were getting very comfortable. And I said, "David, I was at your first Boston show," and he's laughing, because he must have been. He was just having fun. And she's in love with him, and she'd been in love with him for like all her life that she'd known him. But I'd met him earlier than she'd met him, and I just want to talk music, right? And he's like laughing and being silly. And I got this beer, and I never drink anyway, but I got a David Bowie beer, why not? And he's playing Tin Machine, and he's being silly. And I said, "You're being very disrespectful. I've been your fan from day one. You could talk music." And he's just laughing and playing, so I just walked out. Well, the young lady calls me the next morning. The father of her child picked her up. And I can't even tell you that conversation, as you can imagine. So she calls me, she goes, "David's really afraid you're going to put it in the Globe or the Herald. Please don't." And I hang up the phone. Oh, what a novel idea. So, have you ever heard the Track Gals?
No.
And the Herald. The Track Gals are Gail Fee and Laura Raposa. And they have a TV show now. Before the Track Gals, there was Norm Nathan on BZ. I think he's gone now. And Norma Nathan on the Herald. She was the gossip columnist.
Okay.
I call up Norma. I'm right pissed. Certain young lady from Back in the Saddle Again is up with David Bowie at the Four Seasons as I speak to you. Click. It was great. The next day in the Norma Nathan column, it said Bowie and Arrow instead of Bow and Arrow.
That's great. And did he ever connect it to you? And now he's going to see this.
No, it's not in there.
No, I know he's going to see this out on the internet.
Oh,
he's
good. I hope so.
You.
I hope so. What are my notes here?
He recently
cell phone numbers.
He recently, one of the most recent thing I've seen David Bowie do was he was on the show Extras.
Missed it.
He had a cameo that was absolutely hysterical. You should check it out. I think it's season. Well, there's only 2 seasons of it, but yeah, it was amazing. I always forget that he's an actor, even though I love The Man Who Fell to Earth. But
we went to see Elephant Man, me and that young lady and her boyfriend at the time. She went through a variety of boyfriends. We lived together. She was just a very strange woman, and that's why I'm not saying her name. But we went to the Elephant Man, and that was very.
I forgot he was in that.
He was very good. But I got to give you the punchline when after the Four Seasons event. Her grandmother calls her and said, "You're in the Herald." Click. It wasn't her real name. It was the name everyone knew her by, like, the rock and roll name.
Yeah. That's
But
okay.
The whole Bowie mystique, the great thing about Bowie is he built a mystique that worked. Yes, it was PR. Yes, it was created. But it's still real because he has a great imagination, like Avatar. Mm-hmm. Bowie created his own avatar. This guy says that the original Diamond Dogs tour was the first real rock tour that all the others were modeled after. I have to look at Pink Floyd and the Stones and see if they... It's hard for me to believe that Bowie, single-handedly created this.
Yeah, because wasn't that like in 82 or something that album came out?
No, Diamond Dogs was around 74.
Oh, never mind.
I was 20. I was 20. I wish I could be 20 again.
Oh, you know what it is? I'm just thinking because there's 1984, the song on there. That was what made me think. But it's
1984. And he did a midnight special. Have you ever seen it?
Nope.
Oh, he did a great midnight special with Marianne Faithfull. And in the song 1984, he did a song called Dodo, which you can only get on the expanded Ziggy Stardust.
Yeah.
Great song.
Yeah.
Great song.
Yeah, there's been a couple songs that on the extended versions where I was like, how did, like, Bombers, that song? I can't believe that was left off an album. It's so catchy.
John, I'm Only Dancing was a great glitter song back in the Ziggy days, and it was better live. The studio, maybe that's why the studio didn't have the energy of the live.
Yeah.
But when you listen,
Yeah, maybe that makes sense, though. I know there are bands that definitely, they know that the live version, save it. You might as well save some of them,
Well, the sad thing about Ziggy is they could have put that song, John, I'm Only Dancing, had a great guitar riff from the late Mick Ronson. And had they just said, wow, this is a winner, go in and redo it. The Guess Who redid No Time. There's two versions, and they had a hit the second time around.
That's interesting.
When did you get into Bowie?
Probably in college when I kind of knew him from Labyrinth,
Oh, yeah.
I mean, because that came out,
movie.
I saw that when I was a kid, and I was kind of horrified of him because I only knew him from that movie and, maybe a few hits some that I didn't even realize were him, like Changes and stuff. And then in the advent of internet music and the ability to get tons and tons of music from friends, especially in college, where everybody kind of shares music, and I don't know. I'm not surprised that people get into it because we have such a lack of creative pop music. It's no surprise that people start digging back a little bit, and even more recent people like listen to him, all the time. He gets new fans all the time. Is what I'm saying. He's going to be one of those. Like, there's always Led Zeppelin fans are still being born. They're going to listen to. You know what I mean? It's just like one of those artist that kind of transcends now. I mean, I wonder if it probably wasn't felt that way at the time.
Well, he made a conscious effort, and this guy captures that in the book well. He knew how to sell the Changes. The Changes was a great song for him because he realized artists go through changes. Yeah. Frank Sinatra did, but it was subtle with Sinatra. He'd go from the big band, and it was still the same genre. So Frank never really punched out of his genre. Bowie punched out of the rock and roll genre right into dance. And it was jarring for me because I'm a rock and roller. And I accepted it, but I didn't like it as much.
Right. Yeah, I mean, but he had like set himself up to be able to go through those changes. Because if you're an artist and you don't change at all, I mean, that would be strange. So you're probably not a very good artist. And if you're not progressing and changing all the time in some way.
Well, there's two arguments there. If you're Dionne Warwick and you're a songstress and you find great songs, Aretha Franklin, sure, they change, but they're kind of like Frank Sinatra. They stay in their niche.
Yeah.
And they get modern with the times, but it's still the same product.
Okay, I see what you're saying.
A really great example is Linda Ronstadt was very popular in the 70s. And then she did a Spanish album.
Yep.
And I guess she went out to the Great Woods Tweeter Center, or Comcast Center now, whatever it's called.
Yeah.
And she's doing her Spanish album, and people came to hear her hits. And the artist has to remember, people are buying a ticket because they heard a song on the radio that they liked.
Yeah.
And you can't change that dramatically in, okay, she's of Spanish heritage, so she's going to do a whole album in Spanish. It just was not fair to the audience. That
Yeah, I see what you're saying. Yeah, I mean, and it was the tour for that album,
Right.
But I mean, did she eventually place the hits, or?
I think she knew enough to go back.
Yeah.
And Ian Hunter has been a guest on my show from the band Mott the Hoople. And Bowie had produced all the young dudes for Mott the Hoople. And Ian said that when he went to see Procol Harum, and they didn't play Whiter Shade of Pale, they were notorious for not doing their hit. He walked out of the theater feeling let down, and he said, I have to play my hit for the rest of my life. He understood the audience is very upset if they don't hear their favorite song. And that's very astute of him, because we who go to these concerts want to hear our favorite songs.
But you can also, from taking the other side of it, I could see why an artist would get so sick of their hit. You know what I mean? I know it's like kicking a gift horse or whatever, whatever you say. But it seems a little bit. I can see where they would get bored, singing Bop the 300th time on, I don't know why I'm thinking of Hanson, but...
Well, the problem with it is, Joseph, is that if you go to see The Wizard of Oz, you go see The Wizard of Oz. An artist doesn't realize that people are going to see the familiar. So when the artist is not the movie, and the artist can change its mind, and we're not going down the yellow brick road, we're going to go to, Saving Private Ryan.
Okay.
Well, people who go to Wizard of Oz don't want to see Saving Private Ryan.
Yeah.
So an artist that just jars the audience is going to lose that audience.
I guess my feeling is not a mainstream feeling, and I understand why it isn't, because when being the mainstream, there has to be a certain broadness to it, which isn't necessarily a bad thing. But a lot of times when for example, I've gotten into the habit of stopping movie trailers halfway through. Halfway through, I decide if I want to see the movie or not, and that's not what I only solely base it on. But I'm like, okay, if it's got the right ingredients, it has the right people involved in the movie, and I think it looks good, I just stop it, because I don't want to see. I think trailers give so much away, and they tell almost the whole story now, because people want to know so much. They want to know what they're getting themselves into. But if there's a director or an actor I like, I don't really even care if I don't know what the movie is going in. If I don't know the plot. It's more exciting for me. But I understand you can't market like that. You got to market saying, people don't go into the supermarket and just buy a bag with an X on it and just hope it's something they like. You know what I mean? If you're going to be paying for it, you're going to...
You want your Cheerios.
Yeah, you want to make sure that what's in that box is what you bought. But I don't know. I don't share a broad view of that, I think.
I'm tired of Will Smith, Tom Cruise, Jack Nicholson.
Yeah.
They have become caricatures of themselves.
Even De Niro.
Yeah, and Pacino.
Yep. Oh, yeah, actually both of them. That movie they were in together recently, it was oh, Jesus, God, you guys are so good. Why, they have to know it's not going to be good, They have to be doing it to, keep up their companies and other businesses and whatever, their habits, their lifestyle, because there is somebody as brilliant as De Niro. It doesn't seem like they could be making the third Meet the Parents movie. I saw a screenshot from the third Meet the Parents movie.
Oh, there is a third.
Yeah, it's called Little Fockers, F-O-C-K-E-R. And the screenshot had Owen Wilson, Ben Stiller, Harvey Keitel, Robert De Niro, all four of them in the frame. And for a split second, I got really excited. Wow! And then I really saw the caption, the third Meet the Parents movie, and it was oh, who cares, this is going to be ridiculous. Keitel and De Niro haven't been in the same movie since, Taxi Driver or something, and now they're going to be together in such a silly movie. I'm sure it'll be funny, but I'll watch it on a plane or something, but it's not going to be it's not going to be a piece of
art.
Yeah, art. It's not going to be something that people aren't going to be Robert De Niro, from his Lifetime Achievement Awards. They're not going to say, Mean Streets, Godfather Part 2, Raging Bull, and Little Fockers. It's just never going to, I don't understand. Why wouldn't they do there used to be actors who would do this, who would like bow out.
Right. Gracefully.
Yeah, like the picture we had up in the beginning, Cary Grant. He just stopped. He was like, "I'm going to leave, so that before I look ridiculous," you know. And I'm not telling those people necessarily to leave. I'm saying do something different. But it doesn't work because Tom Hanks does something different, and then his past like 3 or 4 movies haven't done well because he stopped playing. You know, he played like darker characters. You know, in
that Da Vinci thing.
The Da Vinci Code, and then a movie that was completely underrated, Road to Perdition,